People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on. You always just have to run that. Oi, everything's gone terrible, but yeah, pretend you never saw that. People deluded, I'm back again. First things first, big up to my long-term supporters, subscribers, members, moderators, all of that. One love if you're on Twitch. Don't forget to subscribe with Amazon Prime. If you're on YouTube, subscribe if you're new, turn on your notification bells, and do make sure you smash the like button and let me know your thoughts, people. Now, Arsenal's financial reports have been released. I kind of want to speak about wages. There's the BS transfer rumors. Unfortunately, Tomiyasu's more or less been confirmed to be out for the rest of the season. And I'm sure there's some other talking points, people. This is the first of 3 live bits of content from myself. 4 p.m. I've got Kenny Ken. 7:50, 10 minutes before kickoff, we're going to watch the second leg of the Champions League, where we hope Real Madrid complete the mission against Manchester City. And, you know, exclusive spoiler alert. You lot know who Arsblog is. You know who Andrew is. Me and him did a video. I'm going to probably bring that out tomorrow, Thursday. Give you lot time to simmer, because I'm sure you lot have seen all the collaborations and all the content I've been dropping. Give you lot a chance to catch up, and that will come out tomorrow. And yeah, man, the grind not stop. I hope you're doing well and safe. Hope you and your family is all great. And yeah, man, big up you lot, man. Wherever you lot are. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night, as I always say, people. So yeah, big up yourselves, man. Let me see the comments before we jump into stuff. Pelzer, you did have the first comment, so one love. I don't know how we'd get Wirtz, to be honest. Would he play left wing or maybe midfield as well? For us, if we get him, do we have enough money to buy a striker and Zubamendi, possibly another defender? Brother, you said it there, innit? Disclaimer, I would love us to get a player like Wirtz. I'd love us to... One second. Can you still hear me? I hope you can. Yeah, I'd love us to get a player like Wirtz. I think he's amazing. I think not just us, everybody would be interested. Bayern Munich, him being one of the top German talents, them committing Musiala's futures. You know, you look at their attackers. I know it's different positions, but, you know, Coleman, Gnabry, these guys could be leaving, slightly even Kimmich. He'd be great for them, innit, really and truly. So I would love him. As you said, it would take a lot of money. And I'm not going to say we don't need him, because I think you should have your priorities or your shopping list. We all know what we need to buy. But there should always be exceptions to the rule if there is a super player like Arsene Wenger used to say. And Wirtz is that. You know, he's bounced back. I'm sure he had an ACL. He's bounced back from that. We saw in the Euros what he's on. We saw what he's done at Leverkusen. We know his stocks are rising. I do think in theory, Arsenal can find the money to sign him and present a good project. You know, you can see what Mikel Arteta is doing, the law of the Premier League, the law of London, all of that kind of stuff. I only say that to say this. Obviously, everybody will be interested. Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester City, the serious teams. Spurs stay out of this, and all the big boys in across Europe. But when it comes to Wirtz, I feel there's a couple of teams that will be the front runners. It looks like Manchester City are onto him, and they need a rebuild, a long-term Kevin De Bruyne replacement. They've got Pep Guardiola, Premier League, all of that kind of stuff. Bayern Munich, for reasons I've just waffled about. Real Madrid, I don't need to explain to you lot why that could happen, especially if Xabi Alonso goes over there. It depends how Barcelona cook the books, and I know they're not the Barcelona they've been for the last few years, but it's still Barcelona. Pardon me. When you look past that, then obviously we could have a discussion. And for Wirtz, he'd be quality. He could play in Odegaard's role, could play deeper in midfield, could play off that left. Not a traditional winger of sorts, but you get the point. And crucially, like you said there, I don't know how much they want for Wirtz. You know, again, you're looking at 100-odd million. We're not spending 100-odd million on him, then signing a striker, whether it's Isaac, in recent days, Hugo Ekitike, Sesko, like you mentioned, midfield and Zubamendi, possibly another defender. I'll go a step further and say goalies. It seems like we want that Garcia lad who has a release clause of 20 million. Now, when you look at Zubamendi, Sesko, Nico Williams, and obviously Garcia, we've spoken about this yesterday. They've all got release clauses. I think, obviously, Arsenal could activate those release clauses for all of those players, but We're not going to do that because the money has to be paid up front. I think on top of these guys being players Arteta wants and things, clearly, I think clearly there's no coincidence we're targeting players with a release clause, because you could even say that to Cunha. Because I believe, obviously, if a man's release clause is 50 odd million, you've got a ballpark figure there, isn't it? So then Arsenal are naturally going to go in there and say, you know what, we might give you 52, 53, 54. But hear what I'm saying, let us tailor up the deal how we need it to be tailored. So it's a myth. And it's like what Rob says here. I'm convinced they just throw our name into every transfer story just to get clicks. The game's the game, and we know that, man, 100%. To be honest, do we even need Tomiyasu anymore? Like, there are so many people in his position. Ben White, Timber, MLS, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Zini, and Kivior. Camster, I'm not going to lie. Big up Zinchenko and big up Kivior. Them two are not included in those conversations. You know, touching back on the previous point, you could make a case of us needing another defender. For me, I'll always fight Tomiyasu's case, innit? Like, the man's versatile. He's got a case to be our strongest 1v1 defender. Look how he locked up Salah a couple of years ago. He's versatile. He's clearly not a bad egg, and I feel sorry for him. And I think where you look at Arsenal for the whole of the season, probably since December now, and you can see bodies are dropping like flies. We have a squad of 19, which a lot of them players are injury prone. So I do think we need players. But at the same time, his stock has fallen. Lewis Skelly's thrown his hat into the left back role, a position Tomiyasu plays. Tomiyasu, I believe, is contracted until 2026 with an option of another year. We are going to go over bits and pieces with contracts and all of that. But I think it might get to the point where it doesn't, it's like you being the best person at your job, but if you never turn up for work, it's kind of irrelevant. You could caveat what I'm about to say and say, how can you sell an injured player? Because there's going to be no buyers. But I could understand if fans, and most importantly the club, say, do you know what, his ability, what he does and doesn't do on a football pitch is irrelevant. It's his durability and it's the confidence that a man's going to stay fit. And we all know Tomiyasu's wages is not breaking the bank at Arsenal. But if you look at it in that we're investing in someone and we're not seeing too much from it, things could happen, man, but is what it is. I do not agree with breaking the bank for anyone. We must just improve the transfer market and learn to make money by bringing in players that can be sold on for profit. In the circle, I'm with you with that. That's why I'm all for, of course, I want players, Isaac, Nico Williams, all these guys, players that are going to impact us immediately. But I also believe you can never stop future-proofing. So if there's young players either in our academy, either in other academies abroad that we can sign for peanuts, they develop and go into the first team, great, we've got players. If we sign someone for 10 million, they're not quite cutting the mustard, but they're a decent player, I don't know, they go for 40 million, you can't go wrong, mate, breaking a profit. Where I disagree is, obviously, we're not going to break the bank 9 times out of 10. And sometimes there has to be exceptions to the rule. I would say Wirtz would be one. I would say if Alexis Sanchez and Ozil were playing at this moment in time and they was around, I'd say them. You need to have an ethos and a way of doing things. But I do believe you need to pivot. And especially if, like you said, if we get better at bringing in players for profit, knowing, for me as well, knowing the right time to sell players. Even me, I'm a hypocrite. When it comes to Haaland, I'm emotionally attached. But there was obviously we got decent money up for Eddie and Nketiah in the grand scheme of things, but you could argue there was a better time to sell him. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, we let that man go for free. There was a time Everton and Wolves were ready to give us 30, 40 million. We could have done that. I can't really remember with Reece Nelson, but there could have been that with Reece Nelson. I don't agree with this necessarily, but I'm sure before Smith Rowe ultimately left, I'm sure there was a time, and his stock was a lot higher, and I definitely didn't want him to go. And hindsight's a wonderful thing, as we know. But Aston Villa were onto him. You could have got a decent fee. So there's definitely things on and off the field in our practices, what we do from a coaching aspect, future planning, all of those kind of things we need to do better, which I do think we have an element of that. But I also believe, we also do this thing where, for me anyways, it's like when the problem is at our door, now we want to act. Obviously the club have tried to sign strikers, but evidently you could see in January, you running around for Watkins where it's not going to work. Now you need to act. Party. It would be nice if we had the replacement for the replacement before he needs replacing, if that makes sense. We never kind of do that. We never really have the long-term heir to the throne when we don't really need to. You look at Partey, arguably one of our players of the season. And I was having this debate with my friend. Who would you lot say is your player of the season or top 3 players of the season? Because honestly, I don't know. I still hail up Saka's thing. Obviously he got injured. He's got 10 assists and 5 goals. We all know he was going to do the business where output's concerned. I think Lewis Skelly deserves a shout. Not necessarily player of the season, but he deserves a shout. I think Timber's been faultless. I know Raya made the mistake against Newcastle, but I was actually watching like the saves he's made up until this point, and he's deserved a lot more clean sheets and done well. Partey's got a case, in my opinion. You could throw Ethan into the mix. For me, it would be Gabriel Magalhaes. You know, I just think he's been superb. Like, and the only times he's really had a bad game is when the whole team's kind of went down the toilet, in my opinion. So I'd probably give it Gabriel Magalhaes. But I again pivot, and to go back to what Inner Circle's saying there, what I mean by that is breaking the bank. We all know those, let's call it the 1%, like the stars in it, like whether they've done what Modric and Kroos and all them guys done, or they're the stars of the future, kind of like Florian Wirtz. Them kind of players there, I think you need to do. I think they should be exceptions to the rule, if that makes sense. I don't believe in necessarily breaking the bank, like for certain players. But then again, we're at this point in time now with the TV rights money, with everybody in the Premier League getting rich, with, you know, you look at strikers, the striker market's dead. Obviously, there are some value for money. You know, we've got plenty in our squad, but how far does it go, really? You're not really going to get value for money anyways, really and truly. I think Wirtz is a bigger talent, but we need Isaac or a top striker more. This can then provide the funds we need to go after elite players, but just throwing all the spare cash on a target is not going to get us where we want to be. I hear that. I don't know if I'm a GOAT, but I appreciate you calling me a GOAT, bro, man. If I'm a GOAT, it's because of supporters like yourself, man. One love. Aaron Lewis, big up yourself, because I think you've just recently started subscribing and you love it here because you're always here. One love, man. We must cash in on Lookman after his current situation. We're going to get into that. Gasperini, you don't know, I'm a big fan of Gasperini, you know. Big fan of his coaching perspective and everything he does. But the way he threw Lookman under the bus, maybe he was emotional, he's vexed and whatnot. But, you know, again, I'm not watching Atalanta week in, week out. I used to, but I'm not watching them as much. But 9 times out of 10, he saved your bacon, really and truly. And the way you've thrown him under a bus, I get it. If you didn't want the man to take the penalty, I hear it. But Ratugi's missed. And he went too far, in my opinion, when he's saying he's the worst penalty taker, this, that, and the third. Lookman's actually come out with a statement. I've got you lot covered, man. We've got a lot to go over, man. We really got a lot to go over. But yeah, naturally, and like clockwork, you know, on the best of days, Ademola Lookman's linked with Arsenal and Chelsea and this one and that one. We all know his contract situation. We all know he won African Player of the Year or some sort of award. It's going to add fuel to the fire, in it, really. And I think Lookman was going to leave anyways. PSG were looking at him aggressively. Obviously, bygones can be bygones, but if you were Lookman and you was thinking, you know what, Arsenal are on me, Chelsea are on me, PSG are on me, this one's on me, that one's on me, I might want to leave. But Atalanta is, I wouldn't say Atalanta's where he's made his name because he's been at a number of clubs, you know. But when I think of Ademola Lookman, I think of 3 teams. One's a country. I think of Nigeria. I think of Charlton. I don't know why I still think about him in his Charlton days. And then I also think about Atalanta, where I think, you know, he's obviously been at Everton, been at Fulham, been at Leipzig, some good experiences, some not. Taking the good and the bad, found his feet at Atalanta and doing well. And they're doing well in the league. You've got good manager, you're playing all the time. You know, Atalanta, I'm sure, I could be wrong, but I swear it's in one of them. Obviously, Italy is all beautiful, but I'm sure it's a beautiful region. Is it Bergamo or something? So there's also that. So if he was considering saying, yo, you know what, I'm going to stay, this might tip the balance, man. We must oh, sorry, already seen that. Josh, one love, my dude. Big up the Twitch gang. If we're going to break the bank for someone, then let it be Isaac. I'm on breaking the bank for Isaac. I'm on breaking the bank for Wirtz. I've kind of alluded to where I'm going, in it. Some, man, I'm on over. I think there's a difference between breaking the bank and overpaying. Like, some I'm on overpaying. Some I'm a hypocrite because there's certain situations where I'm like, yeah, it's not the thing, really. If we're gonna have to break the bank. Forget Isaac, give me Ekitike and Wirtz. We can at least lose in style. I'm not on losing in style anymore, man. I've seen us play beautiful football during the Emirates era, not win. I've seen us become a bit more ugly like last season, ultimately didn't get over the line. And I know people will sit here and say, oh, you only care about Arsenal's with trophies. If I cared about only Arsenal when they won trophies, I wouldn't have even started my YouTube channel, and I definitely wouldn't be an Arsenal fan, right? Because we've created some history and whatnot. But then I always sit there and say, yeah, in 20, 30 years, and this is not to criticize Arteta or whatever, because I do think we're in a difficult situation in that it's about kicking on. We're here. We're a bloody good football team. Like, I can be vexed about Arsenal. I don't need to pretend that we're shit. We're not shit. Like, I promise you, if we was relegation fodder and everything, I'd be getting on to us. You look at our defensive records, even though I think we could do better. You look at the goals we're scoring, even though we all know that kind of papers over the crack. You look at the set pieces and the many ways of playing and evolving the system, and the fact that you wouldn't believe we have 2 defeats this season. we're actually a good team. It's more defined margins. It's more getting over the line kind of thing is where our issues are, and that's something that we need to address. And if certain people here can't address it, then we need to look differently. But I've seen us lose too many times, and as I was saying, yeah, I know some fans will say, "Oh, look where Arteta's taking us and this and that," and I don't think that's wrong. But 20, 30 years from now, when you've got kids or grandkids or some of you great grandkids, are you going to remember the sides that finished second? Nobody waffles about the Wenger teams that finished second and all of these things. Man, talk about invincibles. Everyone likes to bring up that Dennis Bergkamp comment about you only love Arsenal when they win trophies, which is not the case. Big up Bergkamp. They're obviously some, but it's not the case. And it's easy for Bergkamp to say, Donny's one sign. We always waffle about invincibles. What did they win? The FA Cup sides, what did they win? I don't know about anyone else, and I do think some fans are overly negative and fail to understand where we're at and what we've got. I do think some fans are just so battered and bruised because we used to be a joke. Top six used to be right off. That's where they cut a lot of excuses because they're kind of focused on that. For me, it's whether I've agreed with everything that Mikel Arteta, Edu, the Cronkies, everybody, whatever. Where we was when we was 8th, we're now 2nd. It's a new conversation now. I don't see us trying to improve necessarily what we're bad at. Again, goals. People will sit here and say, oh, 90 goals, what have you got to worry about? You break it down. When we truly need a goal, who is getting it? 9 times out of 10 is Saka. When we truly get it, like the couple of incidences last season, West Ham, twice against Aston Villa, when we've FA Cup against Liverpool, when it's sink or swim, we don't have that. But we will thump up a couple teams 3-4, 5-0. Couple players will go on a purple patch. When you actually start to peel back the layers, it's not as rosy as everyone makes out. For me, these things show me there's a base. These things show me there's a level to go at. I'm not really interested in how Arsenal have won. I love the fact that we thumped up City. I'm always going to love the North London derbies wins. I love what we're doing against the top 6. I love what we've been doing. But it's all that we came into the season, yes or no, knowing about fine margins. We've got 2 losses this season. How did we lose those and why did we? The 2 against Newcastle and Bournemouth, we just simply didn't turn up. If anything, it's the draws that annoy me. You're 2-0 up against Aston Villa, where if there's any team that we shouldn't be complacent about being 2 goals up, just from the previous season, it should be Aston Villa. Fulham away, yeah, we got back into the game and we conceded a dumb goal and VAR disallowed us, but fundamentally we shot ourselves in the foot in that game, right? Liverpool, okay, a point isn't the worst and there was injuries and whatnot, but we shot ourselves in the foot right at the death. Chelsea, we did not need to concede that screamer from Pedro Neto. There's been a couple of times, 9 times out of 10, I don't think we're on the right side of fine margins. I think, even Brighton, yes, there was a red card. Twice against Brighton, yes, there was a red card. But I was at the game at the Emirates. We should have killed that game. Before that Declan Rice thing happened. And we even had chances after that. Now, of course, you can't be perfect all the time, but it's when you look back at last season or whatever, there's obviously other times, but there's about 3, 4 to 5 games that really and truly make the season. And I've seen that on this occasion. I look at Wolves away. Wolves away. I look at how we defended against City, where we did also concede late. There's been some times where we fought adversity, but 9 times out of 10, we haven't. We really haven't. Brighton away this season, we can waffle about the Saliba penalty as much as we want. And don't get it mistaken. Referees have to be held accountable and all of that. But we all know where we're at with refs. Control the controllables. We should have put 3, 4, 5 past them in that first half. Maybe if we get a striker or greater attacking options, things look different. This is all ifs and buts and small and fine margins and whatnot. We've got a good base. It's about getting over the line. Because I've seen it for 3 years now. Again, it's not impossible to win the Premier League now, but it's extreme. To me, it is, but I'll describe it as improbable. These are the things that we need to get better at. If we take this base and keep it moving, the sky's the limit. But it's all ifs and buts, man. Big up DG in the chat. Isak, Gyökeres, David, Vlahovic, Amaradon, Sesko, Watkins. There's so many potential targets for the striker position. Just get one, doesn't matter who. And I would love Isak. It's not going to happen, but we're all allowed an opinion. I'm quite fond of Gyökeres. You mentioned Watkins. If worse comes to worse, I'm not against that. But Sesko's obviously the one linked with us. For me, if Sesko's the one you want, go get him. Super Mendy, this Garcia lad didn't go. Nico Williams, go get them. Give it all you got. I hope you get it, because the more players you get that they say Arteta wants and he only needs these players, the less quote unquote excuses you've got. But you see, if for whatever reason Nico Williams wants to stay at Bilbao, go Barcelona, maybe go to another Premier League team or try something else, Sesko the same. Or if, even though we're not going to get Isaac, if you bid and you know Newcastle are going to say no and it's a feeble attempt, I don't want to hear we tried. I don't want to hear we tried. If I do not see next season there's a striker and a winger at the very least, I personally don't think we're going to get a winger now. I don't know, maybe, because we need one anyways. Jesus is going to be out for a year. Obviously, there's struggles with Trossard and Martinelli on the football front. Trossard's got a year left on his deal. I think they might say, you know what, Ethan saved us some money. He can play on the left. He can compete / deputize with Saka. They probably just sign a striker and a centre mid. But if you do not address the key areas, I don't want to hear it. If we do not improve this depth, I don't want to hear it, because the last 2 seasons, no 2 seasons are the same. But there's a lot of there's a lot of things that make me feel I'm watching the same thing again and again. Unfortunately, if nothing changes, nothing changes. To be honest, I think Sesko is the one we need to go for in the summer. Isaac and Gyökeres isn't going to happen. I'm from Japan, no bias. Tomiyasu better than Saliba. Big up the Japanese, man. And I said it before, yeah. There's certain romantic elements at Arsenal. We all know Wenger was big on the academy and all of that kind of stuff. Haylen's producing. You know, we've got historical French ties. Definitely in my 29 years, you know where Saliba's at. Arsene Wenger was known for, you know, managing in Japan. You've got Tomiyasu. I can't say I agree that Tomiyasu is better than Saliba, but, you know, tell him to get fit and we can have these conversations. Tommy is bang average, better than Saliba is a madness. Hey, we're not putting our players against each other. Even if Tommy's average, that's cool. You need a couple man that are just steady eddies in the squad. And that's why I like Tommy. When fit, if fit, which is a better one, if fit, you know what you're getting with Tommy. You know, relatively ball-footed, not the most eye-catching, just does his job, keeps it moving. Perfect to bring on in games we're trying to see games out. Definitely would have been perfect where we on the injury front, where we've had to be a bit cute and clever with Lewis Skelly and Calafiori and Timber and White, but he's not been available. Can play centre half, good in the air. Got a lot of time for Tommy, man. Just wish he could be wrapped up in cotton wool and he wasn't made of paper, really, if I was honest with you, man, unfortunately, man. And my heart goes out to anybody that keeps getting injuries. We broke the bank for a DM, but Watkins at 60 million was too much. It will be 40 million. Big up Gabriel Magalhaes. So, yeah, Gabriel. Smith Rowe should have been sold to Chelsea when they wanted him 60 million for him. You're moving mad. Gabriel Partey, MLS. Rice, MLS, Magalhaes are my top players of this season. But then, yeah, because you're obviously reacting to what I said. Smash the like button. Are we downplaying David Raya? I know David Raya is not the flavor of the month in the sense that Ethan's doing the business, Lewis Skelly's doing the business, this one, that one. I know he made a mistake at Newcastle, just like last season against Chelsea, but no man or woman is without mistakes. And 9 times out of 10, Raya's saved us. And if you go on YouTube and you look at some, boy, he saved us a lot. And there's been a lot of times that he's not got clean sheets when he's deserved it, in my opinion. So does David Raya deserve a shout in the player of the season? For me, it's Gabriel Magalhaes, without a doubt. I just think he's been better. I can't ask anything more from Gabriel Magalhaes, if I'm honest with you. Lewis Skelly doing his thing. I think Partey's have been up there. Like, I've seen a lot of consistency. Based on what we're saying, it is more the defenders that have done their jobs. So it's interesting. Obviously, Ethan's throwing himself in the ring. Japan will win the World Cup if Tommy is fit to play. I'll take your word for it, man. Bron Breaker kind of, I didn't see this comment. Gabriel Raya and then Partey. Gabriel player of the season. Right, so, yeah, I think there's a consensus that Gabriel, he's the worst penalty taker, though. I remember his penalty versus Fulham. That was a horrible penalty for Fulham. But then again, he's been putting the ball in the back of the net. Tommy's season would have to begin for it to end. He needs to be sold in the summer. But then again, who's going to buy a broken? You know, you're not going to buy a broken good, are you? Here I was thinking it was some racist commentary from Gasperini, but he just stated the fact that a man is bad at play. I don't think there's racism. We don't need to do the race thing. I do think, and it's nothing to do with colour, the way you drew out Rutigi for his penalty miss and the way you throw in Lookman under, it's a madness. I rate Lookman for showing courage, but if the manager for me, Gasparini's indirectly saying, yo, you're not one of the penalty takers. Why are you taking it, really and truly? And there's natural frustrations, like emotions are heightened, bro. It's Champions League. There's different contexts. If you score, you're amazing. You know what? Gasparini's an old school man. I reckon if Lookman scored, obviously he would have been happy. He's not going to come out and say that, but he probably would have given him a little clip round the ear, said, yo, don't do that again. As you should, man. In this day and age, yeah, where there's genuine racism and all of them kind of things, yeah, it's important that we don't do nonsense. Because when it's actual racism, people are not speaking how they need to speak, in my opinion. And I can't speak. Maybe it is, but I don't think it is, man. Like, it's an idiot thing if you say he's racist and whatnot, man. Bro, Tommy will win the Ballon d'Or in 2 years. I take your word for it, man. Saliba's doing his thing. Tommy's doing his thing. I take your word for it, man. Question is, who do you bring in to replace Arteta? I would say for me, with Mikel Arteta, yeah, I'm not quite at the... I don't think you've got a leg to stand on if people want you sacked. And just let me explain. Like, I'm not here to say... I do, on one hand, I do feel like we're close. I do think like he should stay right now. I don't think you should sack him mid-season. But until you get over the line, for as much as I can praise you and I like a lot of what you're doing, until you get over the line and win a Prem or a Champs, or even at the worst, yeah, because I think people would still say, yo, you ain't won a Prem or Champs. But there's been numerous times like this season, we could have got to a final, picked up a 1-2 League Cup or FA Cup, scumbagged a bit of trophies. You got a leg to stand on. Until you get over the line, yeah, which again, for me, is the question now. My question is not if Mikel Arteta is a good manager or not. I'm not saying this to say he's the best thing since sliced bread. If that man was available tomorrow, I'm not saying he would have the pick of clubs, but there'd be a lot of clubs fielding interest. He would. Like, I genuinely believe that. I have no doubt that he's going to go and achieve things in his managerial career. I only care if you do that at Arsenal. And, you know, some people describe him as a title winning manager. You can't be that because you've never done it. It does not make sense. You've never done it. I can't call myself a world-class boxer, a world champion boxer, if I haven't won a world title. It does not make sense. So until Arteta shows me, as I said at the start, for me, it's just a getting over the line thing. One love for everything you've done, the good decisions, the bad decisions, everything. You're second now. We're tough to play against. You get where I'm going. There's a base here. Get over the line. Until you get over the line, I'm always going to be interested. I'm not saying I'm going to force you out, but I'm always going to be open to, can someone upgrade this? I'm rather fond of, I don't know, Ben White, for example. But if there was, I don't know, someone twice the ability of his, I'm going to sign that. The same goes for Saka. Like, but it comes with the territory, really. So I'll be open to anything, really. As for the manager, I don't think we could use that as a crutch to just say stay with Arteta, because some people that want to say stay with Arteta, they always say the Cronkies are not backing him. He's been backed. And I look at it this way. The Cronkies are not going anywhere. They're not changing what they're doing. So we need to find someone, as difficult as it might sound, if that is the case, that can get us to where we need to get to within that remit. And if that's not Mikel Arteta, that's not Mikel Arteta. For me, I'd love Xabi Alonso in it. Like, I'm not going to lie. If Xabi Alonso in some makeshift world tomorrow said, I am available, I'm on joining the Premier League, becoming a Premier League manager, I don't mind managing Arsenal. Can't lie, man. We're not going to rip up Arteta's contract, but he's a bit of a madman, new kind of age manager like Mikel Arteta. I think one crucial difference is he changes things a lot more frequently than Arteta. Yeah, you could say, I actually don't know if this is true. You could say if Arteta was managing Leverkusen, he might have won a title. But then for a league that, yeah, they've seen a couple other teams win the leagues, but 9 times out of 10 it's Bayern. I don't know. I can only deal with what's in front of me. Xabi Alonso's he's won trophies. Like, I support Arsenal. I don't support Arteta. Like, you work for the club, and whoever plays for the club, you'll have my support. But I think too much people are committed to hating the guy or loving the guy. And I'm not speaking for people that provide facts, have balanced opinions, and they're like, you know what, I lean towards this, I lean towards that. I'm talking about the emotional duns, man. There's too much emotion. We're definitely not getting Wirtz, man. Your work rate is unmatched. Great stream as always. DG Nation, road to 70k subs. Like people. Michael, appreciate. Let's see, I'm all mashing up the mic for you, Michael. Appreciate that. One love, man. We're trying to get a bit of finesse now, man. I hate this Isaac hype so much. All right, catch my guy. Big him up, man. Big up on the phone. Nico Williams ain't better than Martinelli. His goals and assists in games played is horrible. I hear that, but maybe Bilbao are struggling. Maybe he's having a hangover in the Euros. Maybe his form's on the floor. I do think we've been linked to him a couple of seasons. I only really bought into the hype last year. I don't know, man. If he performs like how he did in the Euros, he's worth it. But then I understand when people look at the stats, look at his wages, look at the hype, and they're like, really? Is it really the difference maker like that? But what I would say is you've got to read into the stats, but don't read too much into the stats, because then if somebody had that kind of thinking at Newcastle and they don't get Isaac, they spent 80 million on a man that had like 6 goals in La Liga, but they saw the angle, they saw the base, they saw the potential and how they could get him to where they're getting him. And it's fair to say that worked out, man. So you can't always look at that. Nico Williams is so average. The hype on him is unreal. And the major reason I want him is because, I mean, Arteta's never told me this, but We keep hearing that Arteta is very fond of you, and there's some fans that would love to sit there and go, Arteta needs his own players. So for me, bro, if you get all these players, there's less excuses in it. Anthony has more goals and assists than Nico Williams in La Liga, for context. Yeah, he ain't got a leg to stand on with that. This club has got money but don't want to spend. Gasperini is a funny one. Obviously done great at Atalanta, but would he be a serious option for bigger clubs at this point? Nearly 71 trophy in decades of management. I wouldn't mind Inzaghi of Inter. I think he'd get us over the line. You have to be better than average to lock up Salah every time you play him. Oh, like, whether man think Don's average or not, it is what it is, man. Tomiyasu season over, it never started, you muppet. I mean, there's no need to be rude and call people muppet. Like, it's very easy to do that behind the screen. You know what's going on. Technically, if you want to be serious, it has started. He's only played like 4 minutes, but if you want to get into technicalities and be a little smart ass punk hiding behind the screen, probably got me muted and got your dick in your hand. He's technically played in the Premier League. What are you talking about? There's no need to be rude. Like, there's actually no need. Like, I'm gonna put you up. You can get your 5 minutes of fame. It's very easy to talk behind the screenless things. No need to be rude, man. You gotta ask yourself, who is the muppet? I've got my little community here. We're talking about football. You're behind a faceless account talking nonsense. In a day and age where you've got the internet and you can learn so many skills, you can improve your life, you could do whatever you want with your day. Bearing in mind, time is a currency that we all have to spend. You're choosing it, chatting shit on the socials. Fair enough, man. Fair enough, man. Big up your thing, man. Big up your thing. I guess your mum wasn't much of a head chick, man. And your dad's pull-out game probably needed to be a bit stronger. Imagine that someone carried you for 9 months for you to talk foolishness. But anyways, Wirtz to City more likely. Probably. I think that's the case. I remember that one game Tommy locked up Salah. Nico's been poor this season. It worries me. He's more of a confidence player rather than pure class. I hear that. And you could say every player is a confidence player. But I must admit at Arsenal, I do want more dogs. Like, they don't get the players that don't get too excited when they're in great form and don't feel too down when things are going wrong. I can see both sides, man. I couldn't tell you what other wingers to get, but there's no excuse not to address certain areas, man. Firmino will never go to Arsenal. Don't disrespect to Liverpool. Go. He's still linked with us. I don't think he's joining us. I just think it's a bit of creative journalism. Obviously, Arsenal need attackers. Firmino's being rumored to rip up his contract in Saudi. I wouldn't rule it out, but I'm not saying I don't think it's gonna happen. Saka carried us through the whole season when he was fit. Let's not forget. I love Isaac, and we should break the bank for him if possible, but Wirtz seems more available and he has the potential to be generational and less injury prone. But when was the last time Isaac was injured? Hit the likes. Tommy hasn't played in 3 years. DG, what watch along you doing later? I'm guessing champs. We'll be here 7:50, 10 minutes before kickoff. Real Madrid versus Manchester City. Arsenal be 2 points behind Liverpool with them having to play at Anfield on the last, or Arsenal to be 2 points behind Liverpool with them having to play at Anfield on the last, I think you mean last day, or Arsenal to be 3 points clear from here on. 3 points clear, man. Like I said, unfortunately with my team, pardon me, when the pressure is on, like when it's truly sink or swim, I think we sink, unfortunately, man. Well, for me, he is the one, but I'm okay that others think different, and that's what it should be about. We will be doing a watch along for City, Real Madrid. Mommy buys me time. Hey, man, I know the internet's weird, yeah, but please allow me with the weird thing, man. Please be real, bro. Arteta leaves Arsenal. What top club is going to want him? He'll be in Spain for someone like a top 6. Be real. He's not attractive as a manager. I'm not here to fight his corner. If that's what you think, that's what you think. I'm not saying he'll whatever, but I genuinely think if Real Madrid's manager went tomorrow, if Barca's went tomorrow, if the bigger Premier League teams went tomorrow, if the Italian teams wanted him tomorrow, I'm just saying they'll at least call him. I'll just say his phone will be ringing. I'm not here to die on that. I'm not going to sit here and act. We can't sit here and act like we never saw clubs the Athletic work coming out with think pieces and this platform and that and saying they're looking at Arteta as a guide point for the sort of manager they want. I'm not going to sit here and act like he's not a good manager. His issue is getting over the line, which again would have got you sacked to Arsenal. We know what time it is at Real Madrid. I'm just saying he'll be a man in demand. I think if you say he's not attractive as a manager, it's a lie. It's a damn right lie. So yeah, Marcel, F off, mate, man. Start watching next, man. You see all the chat. When am I gonna have time to cut my hair? Don't worry, when I cut my hair, I'm back, man. I'm back. Still bringing the gal on YouTube with you, look. Still, you get me? Stop hating. Those Bayern, Villarreal, Olympiacos, Lisbon eliminations, unacceptable from Arteta. That's where I'd be very critical of him. And that's my thing. You can't get over the line. That's the issue with you now. And how long do we go with this? Like, how long's a piece of string? I only care if you succeed at Arsenal. You know, I don't really give a crap what you do away. I think you'll be a good manager. You got a great career ahead of you, all that stuff. But I don't really care if you achieve that. And that's what I mean. Sink or swim. When we're in high pressure moments, and it's not always him and the players and everything, but fundamentally, if you put up all his records and where he's finished and all of that, there's been good stuff in between, but you have never got over the line. You was playing the Villa of the teams you said there. Do you know what one annoys me the most? It's actually Villarreal. Olympiacos was the L. Lisbon, penalties. It is what it is. The Villarreal one annoys me because I'll never forgive Arteta for that. Now, we still could have lost. But you remember, man, it wasn't that semi-final. Man, playing Smith Rowe as a false nine. This is issues. I wouldn't mind Carlo. I wouldn't want Carlo at Arsenal. And I only say that is because, of course, I would. Dons like Carlo are going to leave. When he, with his CV and whatever he wants, yeah, when he's telling you, I need a striker, like, could you imagine the team is in this point? Carlo is going to say, yo, I need the X, Y, Z. They're going to say other things. He's left. Let's be very honest about Mikel Arteta, which I think I am. It's a relationship of convenience. He's not doing us a favor being the manager. Initially, we was doing him one. He was a novice manager, got bare control, got to do all of that stuff. He scratches the Cronkies back. They scratch his. Nobody's here because they're a nice guy. This is the working life. He's getting them Champions League. He's getting Arsenal being competitive. They've got their latter stage Arsene Wenger. And on top of being a manager, especially in the modern day where you've seen head coaches and, you know, they just really, their only control is really from the coach in front. He's got to do everything, really. So with that has to come tough questions. That's a tough question. I'm surprised it's so one-sided. Can we stop the stats thing? Balogun scored 20. No one wanted Balogun to stay. Arteta will forever live in the shadows of Pep Guardiola. He can live in those shadows, really, really and truly. It's a great man, really. I don't think he is because he's completely different. I think the goalposts move with him all the time. 1 minute he's copying Pep, then he's copying Tony Pulis, then he's a coach, a Cone boy, and all of this sort of stuff. It is what it is. And to be honest, being in that wouldn't be a thing. No, I didn't choose violence, but like, bro, what did I do? To be like, man just said, yeah, mop it. It's not the most dangerous of insults, but I mean, come on, bro. This is why you don't judge players based on the national team play. Williams plays both wings an equal amount, gets more assists than goals. It's fair to say the team around him isn't as good as it's been in prior years, so his assists are unassisted. It's true, but his stats look, it is looking peak, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I know it's not just about stats, but indirectly it is, because we want a striker that's getting 20 goals. Surely, am I chatting shit and expecting that? Obviously, you need to be able to do what Arteta demands, dropping into midfield, working the channels, all of that. But you need to score goals. And if we're bringing in another winger, yeah, we can get a project winger and all of that. But if we're talking about man to take us to the next level, then we need numbers, bro. We need someone that can match what Saka is doing on the left, on the right. Well, Saka's on the right, on the left. Dare I say even 50% of that? Because if you're trying to get over the line, personally, I think there's too many unanswered questions. I know we'll score goals. We got 90 odd. It's a madness, but we're waffling about goal scoring, but we're second in the league. I know all of them statistics, clean sheets, all of that. But when you go beneath it, you could bet if everybody had to bet on who is going to score the goals in August, the smart money's on Saka to do it for the majority of the season. We know Kai Havertz, Trossard, Martinelli, this one, that one. They'll chip in, go through purple patches, inflate their numbers, inflate our goal scoring numbers. Our defenders do a hell of a lot. Even that, how many goals have our defenders scored? Where have these goals come from? Who has gone through certain moments? When you look beneath it, we need, and again, rebuild, competing in top four, all of that stuff. We've got enough. Getting over the line, we need to know who is going to perform when the star boys ain't or when they're out. Because there's only 2.5 attackers I believe in our attacking ranks. And it's not a diss. I'm probably 3. You lot know I like Gabriel Jesus, and obviously he's injured. But at the end of the day, you're not going to score the goals we need. Martinelli, you're injured, but you're not going to score the goals. You're about to. I think he scored 6 last year. He's on 5 this year. That tells you you're not going to score the goals. Trossard, I like him. I think he's part of the squad, but he's not going to get us double figures per se. And I don't think we all know with the injuries, Trossard's probably played a lot more than the gaffer probably would have liked in his mind. That is that. The only ones I'll bet on is Bukayo Saka, and it's a bit mad, but statistically, Kai Havertz, I think he's a lot more consistent than a lot of his peers, which probably tells you the problem. And he only did it in the lot, really and truly, on the goal scoring front. Commend him for him pulling up his socks in the second half of last season. It's really only Bukayo Saka. And now young Ethan, but again, he's 17. Now I know, man. Isak was injured in Jan this year. Arteta would get a call from all the top clubs in Europe. Let's not lie now. He's good at the rebuild and he's quite good from a tactical front. But the only issue with Arteta is, as lazy as it is, it's about winning stuff. And even that Nico Williams, you never know, in a better team, which I'm not saying we are or aren't, his numbers could get better. And yes, stats aren't everything, but 153 games for Athletic Bilbao, 24 goals, 32 assists. It's not necessarily the most inspiring. And in La Liga, 123 games, 12 assists, 23 goals. 4 goals in 24 for Spain. From a playing front, I'd like him. 6 goals and 4 assists so far this season. He's got 2 goals and 2 assists in the Europa League. No, wait there. 20 games in La Liga. 4 assists. Yeah, you must have more than 1 goal. Yeah, come on, bro. That come in the first 5 weeks, is it? I don't know, I don't know if this is the thing. He's on like 200, 300 bags and, he's not going to take a wage cut. I'm on it. I don't want to do too much about stats, but boy. And maybe in terms of playing at a better team, a bit more coaching, maybe he does have that outbreak. And to be fair, wait, let me go back to 2024-25. Okay, 2024-25, he's got 1 goal. What did you get last season? Done a madness in terms of assists, 19 in all comps, 14 in the league, 5 in the Copa del Rey, 3 goals. So the assist front was good. I mean, you are still only 22, but you're not really a bagsman like that. I mean, get him in it. I'm still on signing him, but I don't know if that, I don't know if the expectations will be too high, man. I'm on the fence with this Nico Williams. I'm still on signing you, but a bit of me is thinking, have we exhausted all our other options? I can't sit here and tell you all the other targets and whatnot, but Hansi Flick's a bad boy manager. It's not even just stats. Have people actually watched Bilbao? He's pouring lots of things. I can't expect a 22-year-old to be the finished article, man. Shout yourself, Riley. The second a top team needs a top manager, Carlo is cutting. DJ, Wirtz has had an ACL injury. Don't we have enough injury-prone players? Players having ACLs and hamstring ups. Let's steer clear of any players with potential injury problems. Steve, North London forever. Big up yourself, Steve. Would you say everybody gets injured? Like, having an ACL don't mean you're injury-prone. Timber, I wouldn't say he's injury-prone, but he don't look... And again, there is something to be said. Shout out Sammy. Check out that video because she's a physio as well. We was on a side quest talking about physiotherapy. I guess the one thing is, Wirtz had that ACL when he was young. He's back playing. No one can really remember the ACL. Timber feels like so long ago. He's back. He's fresh. Jesus is a bit older. It's a bit different now. PSG signed Carrot Scaler, who plays on the same left as Bacola. Bacola is young, confidence player, very talented, and a much cheaper option than Nico. Bring that. The progress Arsenal has made over the past few years shows that Arteta is a good coach. There are questions about his squad building and in-game management, but in general, he produces consistent results. I think you summed it up perfectly. What do you make of the Champions League eliminations last night, DJ? Any surprises? AC Milan, 100%. I feel sorry for Celtic because it was a commendable effort, but fundamentally they're out. Yeah, man, I'd say that. Bro, Wirtz tore his ACL, recovered and won the league with Leverkusen the next season and wasn't a bit part player. He was arguably the best player in the league. You get it? Like, it depends how you recover. He's recovered. And to be fair, I don't know this because I ain't no technical director and all of that stuff. But you would imagine if he never had that ACL, you could argue better yet. If he never got that ACL when he did, he probably would have left. Because naturally, everybody's been knowing about Wirtz. We tried to buy Wirtz when he was at Cologne. I know Arsenal, we tried, point them jokes. But he was doing quite well. He's on the radar. Naturally, if you rate Wirtz, let's forget Arsenal. Let's focus on the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids, the Bayern Munichs, because of Pep Guardiola, Manchester City, them select few, maybe even PSG, those kind of clubs when it comes to massive price tags, right? Naturally, if you was rating Wirtz, when you saw that ACL, naturally, you're not going to put that amount of money down, that amount of bread, until you see how he recovers from that. In which, as you said, he's come back. It's like he's never left. He's won trophies. The only time I've seen Wirtz and I thought he crumbled, who did Leverkusen play in the final? Was it Atalanta? I might be making this up. They played someone in the final and he was anonymous, but that's the only time Firmino will take you to the next level. I don't think he will, but by default he will. And if in the, to humor that, if Firmino is genuinely on joining Arsenal and he is a free agent, and let's assume this paper talk is real, I'm on taking him until the end of the season and beyond. But we know we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to start looking at balance sheets and wages and doing all the nerdy stuff, man. I tore my ACL. To do that, he's probably got more leadership qualities and a higher ceiling than Odegaard. He will not go to Arsenal. He's a top young talent. I don't think he will. But hey, you tore your ACL. Oh, this is gonna sound so dumb, but does it hurt? And if it hurts, like what? How would you quantify the pain? And I guess it's one thing, the physical scars and the recovery, yeah. But I'd imagine if we fast forward, let's just say I bust my ACL. I've recovered now physically. I've gone through all the physiotherapy and the rehab and the aftercare. How much does the mental scars like? Because that's the battle, surely, with a long-term injury. It's mad. Nico playing like he's too comfortable at Bilbao. Stayed 1 year too long with Bilbao, although it wouldn't surprise me to see him finish the season winning the Europa League. That seems to me why he wanted to be there, man. So, yeah, man. This is facts. Any of Liverpool's attackers would be the star or the best player at Arsenal. Cody, Lucho, Jota, Nunes would all be stats on, bring you guys up. They'd all bag. I disagree with they'd be the stars. If it's not Mohamed Salah, again, no disrespect to Liverpool's front three, but they wouldn't be the star. Only Salah, because, yeah, you're a bigger player than Saka. Other than that, dead. But Cody Gakpo, more than welcome, especially there's a vacancy on that left-hand side. Jota, I'd have you. The only issue is you can't stay fit. Arsenal tax. I don't think I'd see you be best mates with Tomiyasu. Darwin Núñez, I like him. But he's one of them weird players in that I would say the best thing and the worst thing about Darwin Núñez is you don't know what you're going to get. David Ornstein sourced the Cronkies for the Arsenal boardroom because they weren't happy sack owners. The next Arsenal owner won't be happy sack either. We're not getting a new owner, bro. Accept it, bro. DG, will you be doing a Champions League live draw knockout quarters and semi stages Friday? It's at 11 a.m. So why not? It's at 11 a.m. So why not? I agree with asking our wingers to contribute more. I actually like Havertz, but Liverpool don't have a player outside of Salah who's on double digits either, which is true. But they're all chipping in though, man. Like they're all chipping in significantly more than us, in my opinion. I wouldn't mind Bacola, but we're gonna get linked with everybody, man. He's still raw and would command a massive fee, a massive wage. Pass for me. I do wonder what we want from a left winger. Not us, but it's very different. But what we kind of on brand with what we're talking about with Nico Williams. Obviously, Mudryk, we didn't get too much. We didn't get him, so we'll never know. But he wouldn't have obviously commanded the fee Nico Williams, or maybe something in the region, because Nico does have a release clause. And I don't think he'd get the wages, but it'd be a significant investment in which... Is it fair to describe Nico Williams? Not, I mean, he's a Euro winner. He's an established name in La Liga and Bilbao. You've got Arsenal, Barcelona, Chelsea. All these teams are after you, right? But would it be fair to describe him as a project player per se? And then if that is the case, do we need another project player? Of course, if he signs for us, hits the ground running and just does a madness, no one cares. Let's be honest, La Liga is actually an open league because most teams actually play ball. He's not that good. I said it when we were initially linked with him. I hear it, but could you argue, yeah, Saka's and I mean, Ethan's starting to get it now as well, but Saka's typically marked by 2-3 players, right? Martinelli and them man are not. If you've got Nico Williams, surely teams kind of do the same thing, and that might open up spaces around the pitch. To be fair, the underlying number for Nico are good creatively, and watching Bilbao, he's more of a creative hub. I just need a demon. If you are expecting goals from Williams, then you're looking at him wrong. He will get assists and can cover both wings on account of being two-footed. I mean, unless you're going to sign a striker that's going to benefit greatly from these assists, based on just like, if we assume that's him, then I'm gonna have to pass, man. I want a numbers, man, because when you look at when Liverpool have won leagues, well, they're gonna win it this year, but they had Mane and Salah. Obviously, Firmino was doing his thing, but that was their bread and butter. I think we need that. I think there's too many unanswered questions. I need to kind of be able to gamble, educatedly gamble as to who is going to get these goals. Because I said it in August, like we're going to score goals. You just don't know who. The only player at this point that will surprise me if they score would be David Raya. I'm not surprised Calafiori bags or MLS bagged or Gabriel Magalhaes from set pieces. I'm sure Saliba's chipped in as well. Timber's got one, I'm sure. Well, yeah, you get the point anyways. I'm not surprised. Watch Nico when it comes to the Europa knockout stages. He'll step up. The world will be watching. I'd rather break the bank for Bacola than Williams. We'll see how it goes. Williams gets slandered all season. Then the Euros come and suddenly everyone will want Arsenal to sign him on the account of some wicked form for Spain. I'd rather get Selemanya from Southampton over Nico. I can't support that one though, but he did cook Lenny Euro. No one wanted Rice either until they watched him playing for England. Sly cap, I wanted him, man. I'd take Aderinga before Williams. He'd be a bit cheaper, but I don't think we're going to go for him. He's hardly making up any noise at Brighton. Arteta is tied with Mourinho for 6th in win percentage in the EPL above Wenger. Just saying. Obviously, times have changed, and that shows Arteta's got something good about him. But of the 3 names you said there, bro, with Arteta, with Jose, and with Wenger, they've won trophies. They've changed the world from a footballing point of view. What Jose's done, ridiculous. Wenger, there's no Mourinho, there's no Klopp, there's no Pep, there's none of these guys until Wenger was the first one through the door, the first foreign manager to come and stress out things. Arteta can't be mentioning that. And yeah, that shows that there's something behind Arteta. That percentage thing is dead though. And of them 3 names there, 2 have won the Prem. DG, would you guys take Alvarez up front for Arsenal with no chance of getting him? But yeah, 100%. It was Atalanta in the final. Speaking of which, you hear what the manager said about Lookman. Yeah, I covered that early. He threw him under a bus, man. I heard it initially. It doesn't hurt, but the rehab is painful for ACL. It must be, man. Bloody hell. Imagine mashing up your ACL. The Leicester lad is cold. Lateness is greatness. Big up DG Hopeful as well. American Gunner, big up yourself, Unks, man. Jota needs a ban at some point for diving, and he's going to keep doing it, man. Arsenal fans do this. Our players are the worst in the league, then start pinning for worse players. I tore my ACL in the army carrying heavy kit. I felt it go. It's just a dull, agonizing pain. Fuck. In the army, like, so you was on the battlefield, you still had to soldier it. Nunes ain't it, bro. I'll tell you it for free. I ruptured my patella, still rehabbing now. I should be back playing this June. Big up yourself, man. Mate, it's the worst thing for a footballer. You're not the same after. I don't wish that on any footballer. It happened to me at 29. Haven't really played since. Played football my whole life, 32 now. It's fucked, man. It's fucked. I'm not convinced by Williams. I can't say I'm 100% convinced either, man. He moved me a bit during the Euros. I can't say I'm 100% convinced. I'm at the point where F it, just do it, innit? Bro, man, be bantering us. But if we had owners that opened that purse since Wenger days, I think Arsenal would have been a more successful club when we had that big drop. Gakpo has 16 goals in all comps this season. He's having a great season, and Diaz has always been chipping in with goals. Gakpo is levels. I think that arrow means he's better than Williams. Diaz has 13 this season, 9 in the Premier. Exactly, man, are chipping in, bro. Nico is more of a creator than a scorer. I won't be against it, but if you come in, you're gonna have to do both, man. I'm not gonna lie, you're gonna have to do both. I just need double figures for goals and assists. If you do that, I wish we had Salah. Saka does that. The next number 9 does that. You can see the amount of draws we had, or we'd be a lot more confident in high pressure moments in the champs. We'd be a lot more confident in certain moments in the Prem, because some people like to hide behind our goal scoring stats. Unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, when the pressure's on and we need the cold heart killer in front of goal, it's not there. Semenyo is such a baller. He's proven it in the best league in the world. If not him, then it's Cunha. I just don't think we're going to go for Cunha. Wenger is 30. I've always respected him. Nico would definitely get chances at Arsenal. He's good 1v1, but he would want 200 grand per week, which is more than Saka, could cause issues. You'd imagine Saka's about to get the big boy contract. Arteta wins the champs and a couple Prems, and we can revisit the conversation. Yeah, just get over the line, bro. Just get over the line. That's it. Like, Arteta, you're a good manager. But if you can't get over the line, at some point, we're going to have to look at this. And for me, I've seen a lot of good, It's more, I wouldn't say I've seen a lot of bad. It's more Arteta not learning from the same mistakes or the small things that he needs to improve that will make the biggest of difference. Until he gets over a line or does all of that, it's as I think everyone gets where I'm coming from at this point. It's not that I'm going to forget or downplay what you've done, but until you show me you're a man that can get over the line, win a Prem, get into finals for flip's sake, get some domestic cups. I would say win the Prem. Champs, you could throw that in. I want to win the Champs 100% as well. We've never did it. Until you get over the line, I can't back you blindlessly. I don't think you deserve that. I couldn't. Like, obviously, this is an extreme example. And any Manchester City fan that is saying Pep out and this and that, like, you deserve the worst for your football club because you know how sport you'd be. But if, for argument's sake, there was someone sitting there and going, you know what, Pep's not the guy, you could say, hold on. If there was question marks over Klopp, I know a lot of people say things about Arteta smug and arrogant. I won't lie. I don't care about that, you know. I'll be absolutely honest with you. Like, all managers are smug. All of them are arrogant. You need an elegant to achieve anything in life. You need a degree of arrogance. It doesn't have to be in your face. I'm shouting and telling you how good I am. You need to be arrogant. You need to be stubborn. You need to be deluded. I know. I'm not against all of that. Away from that, it's just for me, get over the line because I'm seeing the same fine margins from last season, quite frankly, bite us in the arse pause this year. I heard the Cronkies are dropping 450 mil on a stadium upgrade. Well, you know their priorities. There's too many extremes when it comes to Arteta. He's a good coach, but you can't be compared to the greats until you win major trophies. Exactly. Simple as that. DG, what do you think we need minimum and is acceptable in the summer? Striker, centre mid, winger, sort out the goalkeeping situations. I would like a defender. I'd like to wake up and see new contracts being afforded to certain players. But yeah, man, the dream is free. The hustle is sold separately, people. Yeah, we've gone over Nico Williams. Apparently, Arsenal had a record level of revenue in the last financial year, ending in the 31st of May 2024, bringing in 616.6 million, an increase from the 466.7 million collected in 2023, people. Arsenal made 17.7 million loss despite record revenue. So yeah, I wonder what that means. The Gunners returned to the Champions League in the 23-24 campaign, reaching the quarterfinals, which contributed towards a 71.1 million rise in broadcasting revenue and 29.1 million in matchday revenue. We all know we finished second, blah, blah, blah. The return of Champions League football contributed an increase in broadcast revenue, as we said. Arsenal's record revenue represented a 32.1% increase on the 466.7 million posted in May 2023, while the overall 17.7 mil loss before tax was a 66% decrease on the club's 52.1 million losses over the 2022-23 campaign. Arsenal reported that wage costs increased significantly, rising almost 40% from 234.8 to 327.8. Obviously, we brought in some big players. We've given some big contracts, which was driven by investment in player wages in both men's and the women's game. Profits on player sales and loans increased to 52.4 million, up from 12.2%. But net finance charges increased from 6.2 million to 18.4. Player trading profits continue to have a significant impact on the overall profitability, and club's ability to realize profits during the 23-24 was again adversely impacted by market conditions, with reduced overall liquidity as club acquisition budgets continue to be impacted by financial pressures. The club said the renewal and the extension of an agreement with the Emirates led the way on partnerships as commercial revenue increased from 169.3 million to 218.3. So yeah, I wouldn't force Martin Elliott. Sell Jesus, Zinchenko and Havertz to Newcastle. They're not taking none of them. Like, they're not taking none of them. Who you trying to get in the last round of 16? Honestly, bring on everyone. You're in the Champions League. Everyone's a top team. Yeah, you could look at the Dutch clubs, but if anyone thinks the Dutch clubs are a walk in the park, a historical European giant, I know they're not the AC Milan they was when I was growing up, and for those that are older, you saw what happened to them, innit? You saw what happened to them. So yeah, man, we made peace. And you can see it kind of there in the graph, people. And then, obviously, it's more the wages, people. And that's something that's going to keep increasing. And when you look at the contracts, people, obviously, Calafiori's until 2029. Raya, Kivior, Ben White, Timber, Rice, Merino, Odegaard, Kai Havertz are all 2028. The 2027s and 2026s where we're all a bit, what's going on? Saliba, Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, Gabriel Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, and Gabriel Jesus. 2026, Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, and Trossard. Contracts that are expiring. Well, obviously, Ethan's and Lewis Skelly's are not. They're going to sign renewals, and it's definitely not being over now. Sterling will F off back to Chelsea. At this moment in time, Tierney, Partey, and Jorginho, where look how much money you'd be saving. Again, I'm not against keeping Partey. The wage bill could look a bit more rosier. Neto, you couldn't rule out Neto staying and being second or third choice, lol. But he's gone back. 2026 is interesting because you can make a case that if Trossard doesn't reach an agreement over a new deal, Zinni needs to go. Tommy's got a club option of another year, and I don't think we're going to sell him, but we kind of discussed him. It's the 2027s that you're kind of nervy about, people. Bukayo Saka, need to give him a new deal. Gabriel Magalhaes, need to give him a new deal. Saliba, need to give him a new deal. From an asset point of view, Martinelli needs a new deal, but he's someone, I don't know anyone that'll be cute. We'll make profit because we signed him for peanuts, but no one's going to be queuing up for Martinelli, and I want to keep him. Gabriel Jesus, pardon me, a year could change things. In 2026, we might be saying give him an extension if he plays out of his skin, but we all know what needs to happen there, innit? So there's always work to do. We need to handle the new contracts. We need to bring in players. We need an effing sporting director. It's never a dull day where Arsenal are concerned. Never, ever a dull day where Arsenal's concerned, man. And again, it led me to be, if I read this to you, this is with Bayern Munich, but maybe this is something Arsenal can bring in. Bayern bosses want to restructure the squad into 3 categories. We might be doing it already. Into 3 categories in terms of wages. The first category includes the exceptional players. Kane, Musiala, Kimmich, Davies, who consistently, which obviously for us, that would be the Salibas, the Sakas, you lot are smart enough to put 2 and 2 together, smash the like button, who consistently make the difference on the pitch with their qualities. This category is to be an exception where these players can earn exceptional wages. They're not concerned by the club's money-saving strategy. Can we bring that in? Reducing the wage bill involves the other 2 categories. Can we do that? The second category includes the likes of Elise, who earns around 13 million euros per year, Pavlovic and Josip Stanisic, among others. From a sporting point of view, the club sees Sane, Coleman, Goretzka, Gnabry in the second category, but their current wages are those of the first category. These 4 players are considered overpaid compared to their performances. Hence, the club is trying to sell Goretzka, Coleman, and Gnabry, while Sane would have to take a significant wage cut for any chances of a new deal. His deal is running down as his Kimmich's. The third category is for young players such as Tom Biscoff, who's an example of how Erb wants to reduce the wage bill. Young players with potential that are signed to fight for a spot and put pressure on the regular starters, but who wouldn't demand to be paid top dollar and start every game. If they didn't manage to establish themselves, they can always be sold for a profit. Could we look to do things like that? Obviously, there's been a medical update on Tomiyasu, people. He sustained his latest knee injury during pre-season, and we've been in issues with that. He's undergone successful surgery on his right knee, people. Despite an initial surgical procedure in August, followed by a return to full training and featuring as a substitute in our home Premier League match against Southampton in October, Tomiyasu continued to have issues with his knee, resulting in a further corrective surgical procedure. Tomiyasu will now begin his recovery and rehabilitation program, which is expected to be completed towards the end of this year. So we're not going to probably see you until December? Is that what I'm saying? Doesn't sound like you're going to be back pre-season. Maybe they're keeping their cards close to their chest. I don't know. I love Tommy, but he's played just 6 minutes this season. It's peak. And obviously there's going to be growing concerns. And you would have seen him say himself, I had surgery on my right knee a few days ago, and I've already started my rehab to do what I love the most again. It has been the toughest period in my career for sure, and it carries on a bit more, but I won't give up. Thank you for your support and see you again. Breaks my heart, Tommy, man. And yeah, unfortunately, Arsenal fans, we've become accustomed to really seeing people with crutches and knee braces and all of that this season. It's expected he'll miss the rest of this season, obviously. We all know he was out for initial 3 months. Then we've obviously had to do something else. Tomiyasu has 18 months left to run on his contract, but with Arsenal well stocked at the back, the defender may listen to offers. The defender may listen to offers for him at the end of the season. If we're going to listen to offers just to protect any resale value, you need to take out that option of another year. And we all know he joins Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, Saka, Martinelli, and anyone else I've missed out at this moment in time in being in the physio room. Howard Webb on Lewis Skelly's red card. People are acting like this is a really horrendous refereeing decision. It's not. It's an understandable on-field decision. So between you and VAR's going on, just shut up, man. You fucking puppet, man. You fucking cunt. Anyways, we can't do this. And you know me, I don't really like to speak about this, people, but just in terms of entertainment, the Premier League table without VAR errors sees Arsenal close the gap to just 2 points off Liverpool. The Gunners have had 0 decisions go their way this season, and I've had 3 against them. What I will say is, yeah, I want the right decisions, but in life, when are conditions favourable, it does feel like, and I'm not backing VAR, but some Arsenal fans feel like everything has to go ideal to realise silverware, and that's not how life works. That's not how football works. Anyways, it would be nice if sporting decisions were correct. And let's be honest, when we drop points sometimes, even when refs have had a part to play in the game, we haven't done everything required to win the game. Like, obviously, Lewis Skelly shouldn't have been sent off. He found a way to win against Wolves. He didn't against Brighton. He didn't. He didn't against Fulham. He didn't. Well, Liverpool, we got done dirty at the Emirates, but he didn't. So, like, let's consider everything. I'm sure you would have seen in The Athletic, former Arsenal player Miguel Aziz has been speaking. Apparently he believes his striking image is the reason it didn't work out at Arsenal. I definitely felt misjudged. That word aloof was used against me at Arsenal. I'm not causing any harm by wearing a pair of heels. Big up Miguel Aziz. You do your thing. You do your fashionista thing and all of that, man. I don't know if that's the reason you didn't make it at the club. Maybe it just wasn't your thing. And you're still only 22. I definitely felt not adversity, but being misjudged. Ask anyone at Arsenal. I was always the first in to train and the last to leave. If I looked like a quintessential footballer, they would not have thought anything of it. But because of how I looked, the hairstyles, the face, the jewelry, whatever it was, they would say he's trying to be aloof by coming in early to be by himself. I was trying to improve. Do your thing. People in this life are going to misjudge you. That word aloof was used against me at Arsenal. My teammates were in the change rooms on their phone on Snapchat when I was in the gym working, but they would just see me by myself and put 2 and 2 together. The players seemed to take to it, which was nice. It was from the coaching side of things. I mean, you know what? Maybe it just wasn't your story at Arsenal, man. You go do your thing. We wish you all the best. Still only 22. Man United are weighing up a move for Ipswich Town's Liam Delap. Chelsea are also interested. Is that something we should be trying to do? We all know Brighton rejected a bid for Mitoma, but they would reluctantly sell him for around 80 million euros, which is about 70 and some change. Chelsea are interested in him. That's one way to stop him, because he killed you lot again, like he always does. He's in the final 2 years of his deal. Real Madrid are planning to integrate Nico Paz, who's being coached by Cesc Fabregas at Como, into their first team next season, which in theory could mean less minutes for Arda Güler. I know a lot of you Arsenal fans like him, so we'll watch that. Liverpool are prepared to offer Darwin Núñez plus cash in exchange for Newcastle's Isak, who is valued at more than 100 million, has scored 17 goals in the Premier League this season, 17 and counting. And do you know what's so funny? Do you remember? I don't remember the month, but there was a point in this season, because some of you were saying it. They're like, oh, Isak's overrated, man. He started the season slowly. I would say thank the Lord if you're not a Newcastle fan. He started the season slowly. The only time I've seen recently where he's looked meaty or had a bad game is Newcastle got battered against City. And to be fair, Newcastle, they still can get top 4, finish in the top 5, but they've hit a bit of a roadblock in the last 4 or 5 games. They just need to pretend they're playing Arsenal every game now. Liverpool, West Ham and Arsenal all interested in Hugo Ekitike. Eintracht Frankfurt would like to keep him until 2026 and then sell him for 80 million euros, but the door isn't closed for the 2025 summer window. Having just lost Marmoush, the rebuild will have to start again. Feyenoord yesterday beat AC Milan, meaning they could face Arsenal in the last round of the 16. Alternatively, the Gunners could be drawn against the winners of PSV or Juventus today. So we're going to have to see what it's got for us. We've spoken about Wirtz. I don't believe this. I don't know if you lot do. I want to be wrong. We all know this is bullshit. Pardon my French. Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester City are all long-term admirers, and smash the like button, stop violating people, of Florian Wirtz, and have long been in contact with his camp, sources have told TBR football chief correspondent Graham Bailey. I might make a website and just make up foolishness, because there's no fact-checking. They're still doing this. What is sources? If I just put sources, like, it is what it is. And you're just playing on people's heartstrings of hope. And to be honest, I shouldn't diss you because it gives us talking points. All 3 English clubs remain in contact with the midfielder. And while sources indicate to TBR Football that Wirtz, who is valued at 87 million, has not ruled out a move to the Premier League. A deal is expected to be very tricky. Real Madrid and Bayern Munich are also pushing increasingly hard to land the attacking midfielder, with the latter wanting to pair him with his German international colleague Musiala. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Wait, no, it's already happened. In the German Euros has already happened, didn't it? Yeah, it definitely had. I thought there was the next one in a few years. It's already happened. I was about to say he was going to stay because of that, but yeah, we've already seen that. TBR Football can also reveal Leverkusen themselves are hopeful that Wirtz might commit to a new contract, but that appears unlikely should they lose Alonso. So yeah, it is what it is, people. Romano has spoken about Firmino. We all know what he's going to say, people. He's not leaving Al Hilal now, as the Saudi club insists to continue until the summer, as they can use him in the Asian Champions League. Let's see what happens if they change their stance. Big up Firmino, man, but it's not going to happen, is it? We've been linked with Dean Heinsohn. I'm not going to read this, but apparently Newcastle are consistently calling the Bournemouth man. We've gone over Mr. Firmino. Again, we definitely have. Apparently Toronto FC are finalising a deal to sign England youth international centre-back Zayn Mon-Louise from Arsenal. He's 21 years of age. He's not going to make it in Arsenal's first team, unfortunately. Good lad, but it's not going to happen. Go do your thing. Pardon me, you've been on loan at Reading. Didn't really get that much joy at Reading. You need to go and be in, you, Sego Jr., Nathan Butler, Deji, Kion Edwards. A lot of you need to keep it moving in the summer, in my opinion. Don't want to get in this trap where you're going to just run out your year or two at Arsenal. Yeah, you're at Arsenal getting paid where you're doing whatever, but you see when that bubble pops and they say we're not extending your deal and you need to go in the real world of football, it's a struggle. You need to go and get some real experience. Think about if you're a Championship, League One or League Two manager, people, and your scout, like imagine you like that, and your scout, your coaching staff or whatever, like you're talking about, I need a striker or a centre half, and they come to you and say, I got a centre half. And I say, yeah, what they like? Oh, well, they were at Arsenal's academy. Bring them in. Bearing in mind, 9 times out of 10, I might be in a relegation race. I might be fighting for my job. The conditions are not ideal. I need people that are going to help us. I might listen because he's at Arsenal, but then I ask, how many appearances has he made? Has he played in League One? He played in League Two, playing Championship, been on loan? He ain't got no experience like that. Yeah, you can still get a chance, but it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder. Apparently, Lewis Skelly is set to be called up to the England squad for the first time in March. Shout out him. Throw Ethan into the mix as well, too. Cool, man. Lookman was not supposed to take that penalty. He's one of the worst penalty takers I've ever seen. This was Atalanta boss Gasperini on Ademola Lookman after the forwards' penalty miss in their 5-2 aggregate defeat to Club Brugge. Club Brugge got this little 19-year-old who did well. Damn, innit? I wouldn't be happy if I heard that from my gaffer. He's actually issued a statement and said, it saddens me on a day like this, I have to write this statement. Most of all because of what we have achieved together as a team and as a city. Being singled out in that manner, I have been not only hurt, but feels deeply disrespectful. Not least because of the immense hard work and commitment I have always put in each and every day to help bring success to this club and to the incredible fans of Bergamo. Bear it in mind, didn't he help? Didn't he get a hat-trick in Europa League final? But if the manager if you're genuine, I'm not with what Gasperini did, but I understand the frustrations. If you weren't supposed to take the penalty and you scored, as I said, I think Gasperini would have been happy, but he probably would have clipped your ears and said, don't do that again. You missed. You shouldn't have taken it. The other players are pussies as well, because shout out Lookman, he's got big bollocks trying to take it in that context, but where's the others? And this is a bit awkward because I wonder what trainings. I don't know if they're training today or tomorrow, but I'd imagine Gasperini and Lookman, they got to come to some sort of agreement and, adds fuel to the fire of Lookman cutting, really. In truth, I've dealt with many difficult moments during my time here, the majority of which I've never spoken about because, in my opinion, the team must always be protected and must always come first. This is what happened last night. This is what makes what happened last night even more hurtful. Along with our incredible fans, we as a team are hurting too with last night's result. During the match, the designated penalty taker instructed me to take the penalty and to support the team. I took the responsibility in the moment to do so. Life's about challenges and turning pain into power, which I'll continue to do. Big him up. Then I guess Gasperini's vexed. I don't know if there's a third or a fourth designated penalty taker. Maybe they could have taken it. Maybe Lookman could have insisted the actual penalty taker takes it. Maybe Lookman, quote unquote, bullied the penalty off him and wanted to take it. But based on what he said, there's 3 sides to every story. There's what Gasperini's saying, there's what Lookman's saying, and we'll never find out. But in the middle is the truth. But I can't get Lookman. Big up Lookman. Gasperini needs to have the same energy for the pussy or whoever it is that wouldn't have taken that was designated and didn't take it. Like, he never took it. I don't believe in drawing out your players like this, innit? But I've never heard Gasperini do that before. I could be wrong, people. Arsenal and Chelsea handed unexpected chance to sign Nigerian sensation. Now you can imagine what we just read. On top of us being linked with Lookman already, this article is going to somehow 2 + 2 = 10 people. So yeah, we've been linked with him. The 27-year-old has done the mad thing. Scored a hat-trick against Bayern Leverkusen in the final. Has 10 goals at the moment, I believe in Serie A, it says here. While he has netted 5 times in Atalanta's run to the knockout stage of the Champions League, which Club Brugge dealt with them people. Oh yeah, see? That's the link there, really. Well, yeah, who knows what the club? Maybe the club know what Lookman's doing at the end of his end of his time or end of the season, and maybe Gasperini does, and he thinks, you know what, this guy's leaving anyways. I don't have to play the political game. Liverpool are ready to get serious about their pursuit of Isak. We've gone over this already. He's linked with Arsenal and Liverpool and all of that. Him and Salah, forget it, man. They'd win the Tour de France. Juventus are ready to cash in on Premier League and Saudi Pro League interest in Vlahovic following the superb start to his loan by Randall Koulibaly. Well, we'll have to see what's going on there. Saka is still up there for big chances created per 90. I'm seeing that. I think in the Premier League, Trossard and Declan Rice are up there for big chances created. I don't know what they define as big chances, but yeah. Barcelona are linked with Thomas Partey as his contract is running down. Allegedly, he could replace De Jong at Barcelona. De Jong, who's been linked with Liverpool. I'm not saying Liverpool don't want him or need him, but the Dutch links, it's easy, isn't it? Howard Webb says Michael Oliver was wrong to send off Lewis Skelly during the Premier League win against Wolves. Specifically, what did you say? Maybe I done you dirty. From the outset, we would prefer the yellow card in this situation. So what are you telling them in these scenarios? It's almost like Michael Oliver thinks it's all about him and wants to be a little celeb in his own right. I've heard this described as a horrible officiating decision. It's not. I understand why the refs saw this on the day as a serious foul play action. So I might be ignorant. Why is there VAR? Why is VAR not acting? I don't want to hear it. A VAR should have intervened. It's all great telling football fans this nonsense after games. You can't tell me it's not purposely incompetent. Anywho, people, it's mind games. Arsenal concerned about Raheem Sterling. Arsenal been concerned about Raheem Sterling's level of performance both on and off the pitch. Oh boy, you lot signed him. You lot are going to have to hold that, really. I'm not even wasting time. Fabio Vieira has spoken about his time at Porto, people. After a slow start to life back at his former club, partly down to fitness, the versatile attacker has now played 1,456 minutes in all comps for Porto, while scoring twice and assisting 3 for the side. I'm sure he assisted in their last game. I could be wrong about that. And they're going to take on Roma in the second leg of the Europa League playoff round. Specifically, what has he said? Everyone wants to help Porto, and I'm one of them. I'm giving my all, and it's up to the coach to decide whether to start tomorrow. I'm feeling good where I'm mislating his ideas. I can't say that. It takes time to adjust certain details, but we're improving day by day. I'm always looking to improve. We've been through some moments at the club that have affected the players, and we're getting over it. And we promise that tomorrow we'll be at our best. Okay, well, I was expecting at least to be asked about Arsenal or something like that. You lot keep asking about Champions League watch-alongs and whatnot. 7:50, I'll be there. 4 p.m. people, I'm going to be here with Kenny Ken as well, where I actually need you lot to come with some talking points. Make sure you're following on Spotify as well. That appears to be everything at the moment connected to our football club, man. It's a shame Partey's leaving. He's an excellent midfielder for us. Fabio Vieira is suited to the Champions League, but isn't good enough for the Prem. Is he really suited to the Prem? To the Champs? Big up yourself, Abdullah. We might sign De Jong and Isak in the summer. If we sign them, we improve the team and the squad. Right, Isak's one thing. You got more of a chance of De Jong, but you're talking big money. It's not going to happen. It doesn't matter what Webb is saying. Trust me, it doesn't. Can't let Liverpool sign Isak. We must sign Isak if he's available. He's going to go where he wants. Gasperini just tells it like it is, old school manager. I'd rather sign Semenya for Arsenal than Lookman and the Brentford guy. And Buemo, I wish. I'd take him on a humble 40 M's. Gareth Southgate penalty vibes. It just dawned on me that Arsenal might be in trouble for the Champions League if the game comes down to penalties. Let's hope it doesn't get to that level. Gasperini is a great tactician, but his player management would get him fired at a bigger club. Designated penalty taker is also weak. Credit to Lookman for having the stones to take the pen, but Gasperini is right to lose his ish. Whole team must get licks, to be frank. Fair. Gasperini thinks throwing Lookman under the bus will make him score the penalty. The game is over. Why did he slander him like that? Bring him to the carpet. I wish I had an answer for you, man. I don't. Gasperini just ruined his dressing room, even though tactics are important in coaching, but mindset and managing personalities is also part of the job. Lookman had a dodgy penalty in the past, and I swear he wasn't one of the best designated penalty takers anyways. Will Lookman bang in the Prem, though? I think now he will with his experience and the good and bad moments, but it depends on the sort of price tag they're on, man. If you're not 14 playing in the under to 18s, you're not going to make it. I don't think that's how it works generally, but I hear where you're coming from. We definitely ain't getting no Wirtz, bro. Wirtz, Isaac, these kind of brothers, forget it, bro. Forget it, bro. I mean, if he wants to wear heels, that's his ticket. I'm not involved, man. We have a lot of room to grow the squad in the next few windows. And since we're in a healthy place financially and growing the club, have no excuses. Let's get rid of Havertz and Jesus summer 2026. Boy, I'll be amazed if both them players are here in the next 2-3 years. I'll be real. And it's not, you know what, big up Kai, but to go to the next level, we need better centre mids and we need a better front three. You can chip in and that. And obviously, if your form's out of this world, if your form is like that of the second half of last season, you won't get dropped. But I can see your place becoming obsolete. Obviously, Gabriel Jesus, 2 ACLs, bit part player. It sucks, though, because when he did, I'm not saying he would have been, well, we definitely would have needed him now because we ain't got no one. And I'm not saying he would have done a madness, but it finally felt like, even saying he was getting back to his old self is probably overdoing it, but he was quote unquote getting back to himself. And so it's one thing to get a hamstring injury, ACL, second one as well. It's peak, man. Firmino's more than welcome, but it's not happening, mate. It's not happening. With the injury crisis this season, players they probably would have sold now will likely stay for another year. Tomiyasu, Jesus, possibly Nelson. There you have it. Justy Inigal thinks Martinelli only goes if someone offers 70. It depends, man, because players' valuations are something completely different. Now, I don't think anyone's bidding that for Martinelli, but then if someone does bid that for Martinelli, it's a madness. DG, what do we... Oh, I've already answered that. Sorry, my dude. So, yeah, man, we just have to hope for the best. DG, as I admire Wanyeri, he should be protected from the big foreign clubs. All we can do is give him a new deal. DG, thoughts on the Napan deal? Is it confirmed? I don't see any confirmation. So, until I see that, it's a myth. Havertz should be sold in the summer. Never mind next year. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't sell him in the summer still. I'd keep him as part of the squad, just as our body. And he's shown me some level of reliability. Again, I'm not looking at you to be the difference maker, but yeah. Don't get twisted though if there's an offer. But who's coming to give us back our 65 million for Kai? Yeah, you can say he's 25. I don't know if you think he's been a better player at Arsenal than Chelsea, because Chelsea could turn around and say at the end of the day he won a Champions League. But I do think in terms of being a competent footballer week in, week out, his stock is a lot higher at Arsenal or in the world at Arsenal. But who's going to buy Havertz? Chelsea fans were probably sitting there and saying that, but could see you going back to Bayern Munich. You never know if Leverkusen want to find the finances. He is one of them weird players that, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if Kai just ends up at a PSG randomly. But no one's going to come with no offers for that. I will be doing a watch along for Manchester City, Real Madrid, man. We're going to go live 10 minutes before kickoff, man. Look forward to seeing you lot here. I've just dropped a link. Even if you're not going to be there, smash the likes, man. We need to make the algorithm go crazy. I wouldn't be against Firmino as a free agent until the end of the season, but it's a myth, man. Don't forget, at 4 p.m., I'm going to be back here with Kenny Ken as well, man. Aaron, tell them again. I think they need to sell Havertz in the summer. I don't think they're going to do it. And I don't think they do, because I think Arteta's planning with him. And I'll be real, whether it's injuries or not, whether I rate Havertz or not, there's a lot of men that need to leave or futures that need to be resolved. Now, Kai Havertz's wages is something. That's why I don't think he's going to be in the next 2 odd years, because he's probably got 18 months to try and play for a new contract if they haven't made a decision on that already, if he doesn't deserve that or does deserve that already. You guys think Villa can cause an upset against Liverpool? Upsets can always happen, but, bro, the margin for error, Liverpool are 7 points clear. It's too big of a gap. They will drop points this season, but, boy, man, bro, lost the league trying to ease the mind of Zini after injury, playing him versus Aston Villa when we were great, playing great without him, and we knew Zini was a liability. Madman, that. Take your word for it regarding the Porto guy, man. Be interested to see what's going on. Most we can get for Havertz is 40 mil. And then, obviously, unfortunately, Arsenal tax. When have we sold well? The Arsenal board are to blame for putting players on high wages. I can't get Kai. Kai didn't buy himself. Kai didn't offer 65 million. Kai didn't build a squad where we're living or dying by him scoring goals. We take squad players and make them starters, and then we're surprised that they do well, or we tick over for the majority of the season. But when we need certain moments, players behave like they've shown you who they are. But then people want to hide behind all the positive stats and not look at it like, yo, these stats are positive. How do we go to the next level? What is the details telling us? The devil is in the details, as they say. That's just my thoughts, man. But anyways, people, we've been here for just shy of 90 minutes. I'm sure you lot are bored of hearing my voice. I'm back at 4 p.m. with Kenny Ken. Then I'm back at 7:50. Tomorrow, I'm going to release the video I did with Andrew of Arsblog. So, yeah, man, content. Check out the other videos I've done. You know, this week, we've had a gal, I've had Sammy, I've had bare people in the last 2 weeks. So go have a butchers of the previous content. If anything, make sure you're checking out the February playlist, man. You lot stay safe, stay blessed. And if we're looking for players with X Factor, I will be playing this until the day I die. In a bit, you lot, smash the like button, subscribe. God bless you all. One love for your comments, interactions, all that good stuff.